to talk to you about something that we don't really talk about too much. A lot of people just take it for granted. And as you can tell by the mess on the bench, it's masking tape. I'm working on my current project, and I was just thinking to myself as I'm masking off the interior, the dashboard, everything that this is really tedious. But it's got to be done if you want to get a good result. And then I'm looking at all the different sizes of masking tape that I use, which I never really took into account until now, as I really needed all these different sizes to mask off all the unusual shapes that are in this interior. And I want to talk about my favorite brand of model masking tape, which is Tamiya tape. This stuff is fantastic. It comes in all different sizes. Here I have the 2mm, 3mm, 1mm, 10mm, 6mm, and 18mm, which come in these really cool dispensers, which are also refillable. So you don't have to buy the dispenser all the time. You can just buy the tape and refill it. And this is a very low-tack tape. And by that I mean it doesn't have a lot of adhesive. Leaves very little to no residue on the bodies or the items they're painting. And goes on and comes off easily with a pair of tweezers, fingers, whatever you want to use to apply it. Now here, I have to mask off the entire interior except for this one center part of the console. As that's going to be one color while the rest of the interior is going to be gray, based on the real car. So I've had to use the 2mm, the 3mm, and the 1mm to go around the object, and then the larger millimeters, the larger size tapes, to fill out the rest of this interior. Otherwise you'll be taping forever. And I've just found this Tamiya tape to be super handy, super efficient to use. Oh, apart from the... Actually, this is not Tamiya. This is... Is this made by Tamiya? I'm not sure who makes this one. This really wide one, Kamoi tape, it says here. Kamoi. So I don't think this one is Tamiya. But this is another one, very low tack. Low tack is very important because that will allow you to apply it and remove it without leaving any sort of residue or very little residue on the part that you're painting. Now I'm almost done with my taping here using the very large tape, and then I'll go to my 18mm. To just fill in the gaps. Because, as you know, when we're painting all these different shapes, you need different diameters of tape to fill in all the gaps of what you're painting. Now, even though I'm going to be using an airbrush, which leaves very little residue, and much more efficient than using a spray can for this type of painting. Still love my spray cans, but for this type of small detail painting, the airbrush simply can't be beat. And now I'm going to switch to my 10mm to fill in here. And here. Now, I'm sure there are plenty of other brands of tape out there. This is just what I use and what I have found to be the best tape for my purposes. And there we go. Now we have our entire interior taped off except for that one little piece of the center console, which is the one area that we want to paint. Now, always remember, even after painting, you always have to burnish down your tape. Doesn't matter what kind of tape you use. You gotta burnish it down to make sure that the paint isn't gonna sneak underneath it and bleed onto the part you're looking to paint. Now, let me show you what I did with the dashboard as well. As you can see, here's the dashboard, all except for the center stack, the top of the dash, and the sides, which are all going to be the same color. It's a, here you can see all the different diameter of the tape I used to get into all the nooks and crannies here. Primarily the top between the center stack and the top of the dash, that one piece of gray that has to go above them to separate the two. Oh, one piece, little tiny piece of tape. That's where your 1mm comes in very handy. So this was just a quick little video to talk about tape, because it's something that I don't think we talk about enough, or at all, really. And there we go. We're all messed up and we're ready to paint. All right, well, let's keep going.